We're in Washington, D.C., so I do have a story about a politician that you're going to like. But let's just start with Starbucks. Because Starbucks, the employees, they've been on strike throughout the U.S. for better and safer working conditions. And Starbucks corporate does not like this. And this one store in New York where the employees are starting to organize, Starbucks sent in lawyers to shut down the store completely to take the steam out of their movement. So I emailed Starbucks a made-up quote that I wrote of Howard Schultz, their CEO, that says, "Try to unionize and we'll send our goons after you." And I emailed this to Starbucks while pretending to be a reporter for the Los Angeles Daily News named Jones Jack. And somebody from Starbucks wrote back and said, "You've been attempting to reach executives. This quote is completely fabricated and false, but you know that." So then I made up a new quote from Howard Schultz. And this time I sent this one to the actual law firm that they used to shut that store down. And that one said, "I made them an offer they can't refuse." And then I guess the same person from Starbucks also works for that law firm because they emailed again and said, "Thanks, Jones. I went ahead and reached out to the editors at the LA Daily News who confirmed you don't in fact work for them. I'm sure they'll be in touch." So I said, "This is true. I don't work for the LA Daily News anymore. I used to work for them until I tried to get better working conditions for myself and my coworkers. As soon as they found out, they sent their goons after me." All right, I emailed Chick-fil-a too. I emailed them during Pride Month. A Pride version of their logo. I emailed this to the actual CEO of Chick-fil-a. I didn't think he'd respond at all, and then he did. He emailed back and said, "This is not an authorized use of our registered trademark." But I noticed on his email, on the timestamp, he had sent it on a Sunday. I said, "This is not an authorized use of the Lord's Day." All right, here's Pure Romance. They're a multi-level marketing company. They're a pyramid scheme company, and there's a lot of these companies out there. The only people who make any money at these companies are at the very top of the organization. Everybody else just ends up wasting time and losing money. In addition to being a pyramid scheme company, Pure Romance also makes adult sex toys. So I made up a quote from their CEO that says, "Our business model is a pyramid made of cock rings." And he did not answer that email. So then I called him on the phone directly and I read it to him and he was like,
"That would never come out of my mouth."
Sorry, you broke up. It's something about coming out of your mouth.
So he got off the phone very quickly. But then his publicist called me like a minute later and she was like,
"No, that absolutely did not come out of Chris's mouth. That's defamatory."
Deflammatory, yes. It's actually not a word. It's the combination of two words, defamatory and inflammatory, combined together to make deflammatory.
And I've worked with him for 8 years, and I've never heard him say the word pyramid made of cock.
Which, by the way, I never said pyramid made of cock. I said business model made of cock rings. Pyramid made of cock was her own creation. So she created that, and then she created...
That's deflammatory.
All right, here's another pyramid scheme company, American Income Life Insurance. I actually landed an interview with this company. There I am on the beach. They had really bad reviews online on Glassdoor, the job site, and so when the interviewer asked me what I liked about the company, I brought up their bad reviews.
What stood out to you on the company overview?
Well, I did see that on Glassdoor, you guys had half a star. And, that's something that I always look at when I'm looking at prospective companies. I do have a 0-star standard, and you guys had half, so you definitely met my standards there as far as that goes. That was the first thing, foremost.
Okay, gotcha. So thanks for that.
People were saying that they were a scam, and so I brought that up too. I saw the word scam.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have some concerns there.
Yeah. Any questions on that, or?
Yeah, is it a scam?
No, I didn't say it's a scam. For the official life insurance of the Dallas Cowboys, wouldn't endorse our benefits if we were a scam.
Well, if you would have watched that last playoff game, you know the Dallas Cowboys might be a scam.
I actually made it to the next round of interviews with this company. And my background came up on that call.
Does it matter if I have any felonies?
It depends. What do you have on your background?
Well, I got some normal felonies, and then there are some that are a little more serious.
Okay, like what? What in the, like, is it
The M word.
the what? The M word? Okay, do you have...
M.
Is it,
As in male, not M as in male.
male? Okay, I was like, okay, so male? Like, what was it exactly?
Was murder.
But despite admitting to murder, she still had even more questions for me anyways.
How recent was it?
I guess it depends on which one.
Got the job. All right, here's another pyramid scheme company, Monat, or Monet, I don't give a shit how you say it, something like that. They're a pyramid scheme company that makes hair and skin products, and they actually got in trouble because they were making hair products that were causing people's hair to fall out. So I emailed them as Jackie Jones with the Coloradoan Times. A made-up quote of their CEO, and I photoshopped him bald in this quote and made him say, "If you like the Vin Diesel look, you should try our hair products because they'll make you bald." And they emailed back and said, "That quote is absolutely, unequivocally not from our CEO." And so I said, "Okay, I'll make sure to note he didn't say anything about Vin Diesel." I said, "But we do have a quote from Vin Diesel about him." I said, "I can share that with you." They said, "Yeah, we absolutely want to see that story and quote before you run it." I'm like, "Okay, this is directly from Vin's reps. I've relied on Monat to keep me bald for years." Then the next email I got from them was from their lawyers, who sent a multi-page legal document that mentioned Vin Diesel several times. They say you can tell it's not their CEO by a simple Google search, and then they said if the Coloradoan Times publishes this, they're going to take swift legal action. And then they actually gave me a deadline to confirm that I won't publish it. And they said if you have any questions or wish to address this issue further, please contact us or have your attorney do so. So I had my attorney do so. I said on January 28, 2021, you threatened to take swift legal action. I'm reaching out to inform you if you take any legal action against Jackie of the Coloradoan Times, even just a tiny hair of legal action, I'll respond by photoshopping every Monat executive bald, and these photos will be posted on the internet and made easily accessible by a simple Google search. In addition, I'll get in touch with every bald celebrity to ask them if they'd be interested in promoting Monat, and that list includes, but is not limited to, Pitbull, Charles Barkley, Samuel L. Jackson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Larry David, Seal, Terry Crews, and the Dalai Lama. You have until Friday, January 29, 2021 at 8:59 a.m. Mountain Standard Time to read this email. That time's already passed. If you have any questions or wish to address this issue further, please do not hesitate to contact Jones. Sincerely, Jackie Jones. Jones, Jones & Jones, LLC. Attorneys at law. You mess with Jones, you get the Jones. So I shared these interactions online, and somebody saw them, I guess, and I don't know how they got this link, but they sent me a link to a Zoom party that all the executives at Monat were having, all the people at the very top of the pyramid, and so I joined as Trey Angle, and it got awkward very quickly.
And I see one face I don't recognize. Who is Mr. Angle?
Hey, I'm Trey.
And they removed Trey from the meeting. So I tried to change my name really quick and see if they would let me back in, and they did. So I was able to say,
You mess with the Jones, you get the Jones.
All right. This is back in 2020. Somebody messaged me who I'd actually never met before. Somebody who follows me and is familiar with the stuff that I do. They said they bought the website Parler.social for $8, and they made a parody website making fun of the social media app Parler. Do you guys remember Parler? Well, here's the actual Parler logo. Here's his logo that he made for the site. Here's the site, and he has a form on the bottom of the site, and he wanted to see if I wanted to respond to people who filled out the form thinking that they're writing to the actual Parler. And I said, sure, why not, right? And then I actually never heard from him again until over a year and a half later. He messaged me again and said, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we just got a message on Parler Social from an actual former congressperson named Ted Yoho. And his name sounded familiar, so I had to look him up. He's the guy who called Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, a fucking bitch. Does anyone remember that? It was him, and it was like a big deal in the news when it happened, and he was supposed to apologize to Congress for it. But here was his apology speech.
The offensive name-calling words attributed to me by the press were never spoken to my colleagues, and if they were construed that way, I apologize for their misunderstanding. I cannot apologize for my passion or for loving my God, my family, and my country. I yield back.
So that was his quote-unquote apology speech, right? But he left his phone number on the form in hopes that someone from what he thought was Parler would contact him about making like a podcast or a radio show together. So I gave him a call on the phone. I said my name was Eric with Parler Social. The first phone conversation lasted like 20 minutes. I thought it was going to be over quick, but he never really picked up on any of the off-the-wall things I was saying. Like, he wanted the name of his podcast to be called God, Country, Family, based off that speech.
Content's going to be, pretty much God, Country, Family, everything I ran on.
Sorry, cut out.
I cut out.
Yeah, God damn it, family or something?
God, Country, and Family.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I was like, whoa, easy on the family.
And then we talked about school shootings.
We tried to get implemented when I was in Congress, a gun safety program to go into the schools. Of course, none of the schools, really wanted to do that.
Maybe if there were more shooting ranges inside the schools, that way all that aggression, you skip right past the lunchroom, right to the shooting range, maybe some target practice in. Even if the targets were, 6-year-old boys and girls as the targets, if that saves a life, then hey.
Well, and have the parents come out with you.
Yeah, so as you can see, he wasn't really listening at all. So this actually just kept going. I had multiple phone calls with him, and he wanted us to make him a website for his new podcast, so we did that. Here's the God Country Family Cast website. And he was like sending us blogs that he wrote, like this one, this really long blog, and so we just uploaded that under the manifestos section of the website. So we're like running his website now. And one time he asked me, do you have anybody else that works with you at Parler? And I was like, yeah, you're right. I can't be the only person working at Parler. So I had to recruit other comedians to play characters at Parler with me. Here's Walter Masterson up in the top left corner. That's me, him, and Ted recording a full episode of his podcast over Zoom. And we had some side discussion as well.
The ignorance out there is just amazing.
Yeah, there are a lot of just ignorant people. Completely, and it's like the stuff is happening right in front of them, and they're just like totally ignorant. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just
they fall for anything.
Yeah. So we're running his website. We got a whole episode of his podcast. To be honest, I didn't know how long I could even keep doing this. I tried to get out of it once. I tried to teach him how to do it all himself, and he could barely figure out how to log into his computer. And so I decided to keep going. Another reason why I decided to keep going, because he would always bring up the AOC thing a lot. But remember, he told Congress that he never actually called her that. And then he went on the news, and this is what he said.
Did you refer to her as a F word, B word?
No, I walked down the steps, and I said, this is just such frickin' BS.
But here's what he told me.
A reporter heard me say something. He said, what was that about? I said, no comment. Well, you guys are in the media business, and when somebody says no comment, it's kind of off the record. You don't go after that.
Right.
And he said, did you call her an F and B? And I said, no comment. But truth is, as I walked away by myself, I said, what a F and B.
So he confided in me some shit he lied to Congress about. So at this point, I'm like, it's really starting to get deep with this guy. And you know what? He actually invited us to meet him in person at Liberty University in Virginia, where they were having like this CEO summit where other politicians were going to be at because he wanted them to come on as guests on his podcast and for us to interview them. And I was like, when we start messing with all these other powerful people, I really probably should talk to a lawyer. So I registered Jones, Jones & Jones, LLC. And then I had to do a little research on this stuff. You guys know Borat, Sacha Baron Cohen, right? He had a show on Showtime called Who is America? And in this particular episode, he pranked this judge from Alabama who's like a pedophile named Roy Moore. Sacha Baron Cohen said he was a member of the Israeli military that had a wand that could detect like pedophile excrement. And he was like, here, let's see if it works. And he swiped it himself and nothing happened. And then he swiped Roy Moore and it started beeping. And then Roy Moore like walked off the set, and after they aired this, he sued Sacha Baron Cohen for $90 million. So I actually called one of Sacha Baron Cohen's lawyers directly on the phone. I didn't think they'd answer at all, and they were like, wow, it sounds like you got yourself in a bit of a pickle there, didn't you? And they're like, he won that lawsuit, and he wins all of them because he gets these people to sign these airtight contracts before they appear on his show. And so that lawyer actually did me a huge favor and sent me the exact same contract that Sacha Baron Cohen uses. And I got Ted to sign it. So off we went to Liberty University. Here I am meeting him for the first time. So Ted blocked this conference room off for us. We were supposed to interview people throughout the day, but I guess he double booked this conference room with like somebody else. The lieutenant governor of Virginia's people came in and said they were supposed to use it. So we had to leave, and so the whole first day we didn't interview anybody. We just ended up following Ted around, and he was like introducing us to other powerful people. Oh, by the way, I went out there, Walter went out there from the Zoom call, and then Mack, the guy who made the website Parler Social, he went too. And I hired a camera guy to come with us. So yeah, we get kicked out of the conference room. We're following Ted around. He introduces us to these powerful. That's like a former congressperson over there on the right. And then in the middle, that's actually the former president of Ghana.
Good. All right.
And then there's us. That's the look of what the fuck am I doing here right now? So Ted's giving this speech in this conference room, and we're kind of just waiting for him, me and Walter. And as we're waiting for him, all of a sudden these people that work at Liberty University approached us and started asking us these questions like they knew we were up to something. I'm like, oh shit, we're about to get kicked out of this place. But Walter, you saw Walter, he does stuff like this a lot. He pranks politicians way more than I do. This is my first time. So here's Walter on the beach with Marjorie Taylor Greene on the left there. And that's Matt Gaetz over there. He paid for sex with minors on Venmo. And there's Walter in the middle.
I'm so excited! I mean, everyone thinks you're crazy. I don't think you're crazy. People think you're a pedophile. I don't think you're a pedophile at all. I don't think he's a pedophile at all. Totally false. Oh my God.
So Walter does this shit, right? So he was like, you know what, I bet you any money they recognize me, and that's why all of a sudden they're onto us. So he actually left Liberty University completely so we could keep going. And he was right, because right after he left, security came up to me, and they had Walter's TikTok profile on their phone, and they're like, do you know him very well? And I was like, nah, really, I just met him today, but I'm really here with Ted Yoho. And they're like, okay, you're good. I was like, all right, cool. And then Ted got done with his speech and said this.
She goes, you have the film crew here? I said, yeah. And they go, okay. She goes, we thought they might be the TikTok disruptors.
Oh, what?
Because TikTok is Chinese.
So they were trying to tell him what was going on, and he blamed China instead. So shout out to China for getting us out of that one. Thank you, China. Because he never brought it up again the rest of the night. So we all left, and the next day we had one confirmed guest to come on his show, and that was former presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann. So here I am meeting her for the first time. And Ted actually wanted people to sign contracts before they appeared on his show. And I was like, well, I have a contract that she can sign, the Sacha Baron Cohen contract. So she signed, and we're ready to do this thing. By the way, I had been doing this now for 3 full months, pretending to be Eric from Parler Social. So this was like the end of the road for me. We only had one confirmed guest. I don't know if you noticed the horse that I brought there, because I wanted to present some stuff to him to see if he would remember all the crazy shit that we talked about on our very first phone call. And one of them was a horse, because before he worked in Congress, he used to operate on them as a veterinarian.
On the abortion side, I mean, if you get rid of the male population and get it manageable, then you can manage your herd from that point forward.
I think that's
What happened over the years.
a great analogy to go with humans too. Put this on the men, get forced vasectomies, and now they're carrying a little bit more of the responsibility. You know, if they can't get the nut, then there's not going to be the baby. So.
Well, that's true. And
So I brought the horse, forceps for the horse, and a mug that says vasectomy survivor, I kid you not. And I presented that to them, and they thought it was funny. They didn't really know what the hell was going on. But then the next thing I presented, that's when it got really tense, because that was the Target with the kids on it. When I put that up behind them, that's when they realized something wasn't actually quite right. They actually got up and then they left. So now it's just me, the camera guy, and Mac, the guy who made the website, left alone in this conference room. And I'm like, you guys, I think we just need to get the hell out of here as soon as we can. But as we were packing up, Ted comes back into the conference room demanding that we give him back the contract that Michelle Bachmann signed. And he pushed me in the chest and tried to close our camera guy in the doorway.
I want Michelle's papers. You guys not leaving here until we get her papers. I want to call the police.
Thankfully, nobody was hurt. And Mac, he actually took that contract away in his butthole like it was like a sack of weed. So he never got the contract back. But this whole time, a camera guy left like the camera behind, and Ted was like trying to press the red button on it to turn it off. And Mac was like pressing the red button back to turn it back on. They're having like this finger battle with the red button. And I guess Ted cut himself while he was doing this because he was getting physical with us. And when I saw that he was bleeding, I pointed it out to him to calm him down. That's when he pulled his phone out and tried to say that the reason he's bleeding is because we attacked him.
This is all disingenuous. And in the process, they attacked me, and I got hurt. And I hope you have good insurance.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. No comment.
So finally, the police come up to the conference room, and he tells them that we attacked him. So then they tell us now we're under investigation for assault. And our camera guy had left, and we didn't know how to use the camera that he left behind. Thankfully, Mac had his iPhone out the whole time and recorded everything. So we showed them the footage of Ted actually assaulting us, and they let us go. So the iPhone bailed us out, thank God. Which, by the way, was made in China. Thank you, China, once again. That was the last time I saw Ted, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been pretending to be his friend for like 3 full months. I felt kind of bad, like we had like a breakup at the end there. So I wanted to at least reach out to him one final time to apologize. And so I did. I said it was unfortunate that our creative differences cut the interview short with Michelle Bachmann. I apologize for your misunderstanding. But I cannot apologize for my passion or for loving my God, my damn it, and my family. Sincerely, Eric Jones, Parler Social. And that was the last time I heard from him. But during that whole thing, he looked at me right in the eyes and he said this to me.
And if I hear any of this stuff that I did not agree to on social media, you're going to be sued.
So I haven't posted any of this politician story online at all. I was like, well, how about we just do it live in Washington, D.C.?